The worst art advice I've ever got that really slowed my growth as an artist had to do with a really simple chalk brush in Photoshop, and it really held me back for many years. You might be wondering, how does an advice on a basic brush hold you back? It was my second year studying after coming out of a music major background. I took an art class and I was hooked in making art. My fundamentals were super weak for painting, my line drawings were passable. At that time, our assignment was to create a children's book illustration page painted digitally for an assignment. I remember spending 60 hours for that week trying to figure out how to be able to paint the Monkey King, which turned out terrible since it was my second time really dabbling digitally. When I put up the artwork for the critique, I still remember the comments super clearly, even now, and how it made me feel like I made a mistake that would offend the Photoshop gods or something. The comments was, "Are you really going to use that chalk brush?" At that time I had no comments and I didn't know how to respond. He jokingly said, "You're going to stick with that, huh?" Afterwards he said to me, "You really should consider not using the Photoshop brushes. This is way too generic and it's very much a too digital approach of creating artwork." While this might seem harmless, it really affected me, especially within my art process in creating and even in figuring out how to improve. Digital art was really new for me, plus it was really new within the whole industry itself, and creating brushes was the up and coming thing that seemed to happen during that time. After the critique, I felt like I was doing something super wrong, honestly, by using the basic tool. I didn't use the chalk brush or basic tools unless I was painting for myself for fun, but never for art assignments. For years I didn't use the fundamental tools since I always felt like I needed to try something new and was trying to improve, and that's how you were able to actually improve, was creating new tools or trying new tools to be able to fit into your process. This really affected me in trying to stick to one thing, and especially mastering it besides using brushes digitally and applying the process and styles as well. If I could speak to my past self, or any upcoming artists, I would say this: any instructors, even though they might mean well, you need to really consider their feedback with a grain of salt. Anything that's said, don't get so attached to whatever the comments was like from especially other people that's giving you some sort of feedback. Don't get me wrong, I think exploring is good and trying new things is excellent within the process. It's a super easy way to be able to improve. However, on the flip side, ultimately, really consider exploring in your own way and always see what you want to focus on in mastering without being swayed by other people's comments and feedbacks as well. And even though if something deters you from using it, in terms of the tools or the process, keep doing what you really want to do and see if that feedback or recommendation lines up with you as an artist and how it might fit into your working style or even process itself. At the end of the day, while tools might improve your process, it's ultimately what you want to do that is probably more important. I think this applies especially to any type of art field and niche. So if you want to get better in figures or anime or backgrounds or even any type of art form, I would say just keep going, try it out, keep doing it even though somebody might say no. Remember what they say, keep doing it even when somebody says no. Consider, how does this line up with me, and stack up the skills that you learn from other interests into the one focus that you might be actually more interested by. Don't get deterred by doing something that you enjoy and implement it in your goals to be able to do that thing on a daily or weekly basis. The artists that I saw that have really become super successful seem to have focused on one thing that drives them and almost like a delusional belief that they will make it. May we be stubborn enough to follow our dreams, but open-minded enough to add new skills and take the feedbacks that are actually going to be helpful to all of us in achieving our goals. Happy creating! Until next time.